Chyna. Originally, I was from Hong Kong, but I live in New York for 16 years. I moved here in 2011. The reason why I took a degree called thanatology is because I thought
What's the degree called?
Thanatology.
Thanatology.
It's a study of death and dying. Thana is a Greek word, means death. Tology means science, so that makes me a deaf scientist. So anyway, the purpose I got this degree because I thought, I studied Tibetan Buddhism. It's very similar to, because Tibetan Buddhism is always emphasizing death and dying. And then, however, I realized that the degree actually saved my life, and which is because in 1994, both of my parents died. They both died within 3 months apart. So my mother died in May, father died in August, and then October I was hospitalized with horrible chest pain. Really severe chest pain that every breath I take in is killing me. I cannot walk, and really literally every breath, just killing me. So end up I was in hospital for 4 days. They gave me IV, painkiller, whatever. Nothing works. Then I checked myself out. And then for so many years, I don't know what happened to me. For a while I thought maybe something toxic in the house because I moved in with my father after my mom died. And then he died suddenly like that. And then I have pain. So am I going to die? For so many years, I don't know what happened. Until 2006, I get involved in the program. The first class is called bereavement. Then I realized there's a terminology called broken heart syndromes. Broken heart syndromes was the first written by a doctor from Johns Hopkins, University in 2005. Just a year before I go to school. But it's like 12 years after I have my diagnosis, But nobody even diagnosed anything. They never even asked me what happened to me. You're so young, you shouldn't have that kind of, They could have just asked, what happened to your life, But
Nobody asked?
no. Nobody asked for so many years until I go to school. I realized, oh my God, what happened to me in 94? Was just, because I have broken heart syndromes. So indeed, broken heart syndrome is something like when you experience traumatic stress. It could be anything. It could be a car accident. It could be loss of a loved one. It could be anything. Your heart will secrete this hormone. It stings your heart. It's mimicking like a heart attack. Many people don't know. They would think that you will have a heart attack. But it's not a heart attack. It's from stress. And then apparently it's called somatic syndromes because when you emotionally have a loss of burden and stress and you cannot process it, that can manifest to your physical health, including with children. A lot of kids, when they lost their parents or like something going on in their life, like moving from state to other state, like home to home, they have so many physical problems. It's because of that. So children, experience that too. Sometimes they will have regressing. They will wet the bed. Or maybe they will recurrence, they constantly hurting themselves, or they have a headache, they have a stomach ache, but they're all related to emotional trauma. So nobody knows about it, nobody talk about it, including now still not too many doctors ask you what happened to your life. So to me, I think grief and also trauma work is very important because a lot of chronic illnesses, including cancer, all kind of stuff, addictions, is all came from trauma, from childhood that we're burying. That's why grief is a really important subject to talk about. So including myself, I've been really depressed for so many years after my parents died. I was young, It's been 23 years now, I don't have a parents. So I'm here by myself in this country ever since. I moved here 8 months after they died. No, not even one family member, but which is fine. It's in my blood. I'm like a gypsy. But it was difficult. It was really difficult. I was really depressed to the time that I was suicidal. Even I asked my Buddhist teacher one day, I feel like I'm like a ghost. Am I dead? I feel like I was so depressed. I feel like I'm trapped in a house. That's how depressed I was in New York. So then I moved here 6 years ago. My life changed. I think Sedona helped me a lot. And I realized that I'm not a city girl. I'm just like a country girl. The nature is really helping me. And plus, then I came here, I was working in a hospice at the beginning. It was great. I was doing a lot of education, stuff like that. So that's my story. So my goal in my life is to help people to open the dialogue, to talk about it. Even you think something happened many years ago doesn't affect you, you will come up somehow, manifesting in your health and something. And a lot of time people have problems, they don't know where to start and how to help themselves, including myself. I didn't know why I was depressed. I was very lucky. I was a model actually when I was in New York. I make a lot of money. I was in the billboard in Times Square. I was in the Elle and Vogue cover. I was a very successful model when I came here. Because of that, I got my citizenship and green card. So my life is really amazing. But then I was just not happy. But I didn't understand. So I thought something wrong with me. Why am I being like that? I'm so ungrateful, I don't know why. Until I go to school, then I realized I've been having grief problems. So now I feel like I can solve my problem now. I graduated in 2009. I didn't jump in immediately to do it, this kind of work, but I was working in the hospice. But now I feel like it's about time for me to help other people, because now I'm old enough, I can, and also you have to work on your shit first before you can help people, right? Because a lot of time people, they merge their own projection onto people. It's a mess. So I waited for a long time. So now finally I feel I'm strong enough, I have a little bit more knowledge so I can help people.
How do you do that? Do you have a practice?
Right now, I left the country. I just came back. I'm writing a book right now, and my goal is to do more video things, do more things like this. And I like to do, after I quit my hospice job here, I opened my own center in Hillside. Hillside, where the Havana Cantina, just opposite there. I have my center there for a while. But because Sedona is a very small town, the funding and everything, nobody have money to pay to talk to someone. I mean, I'm not going to reject people. Some people just need a place to talk. I have people come in and cry, all the time, which is fine. But I just don't have the funding on my own to do it. So I close it. I decided to close it. I traveled around the world, went to New Zealand, Australia, Spain. I came back last year. So I came back, now I figured out, okay, so what am I going to do? So I'm writing a book, and when I have my center, I do fun things. Because it was next to the Vietnamese restaurant, so I have death over dinner. So I have, it's fun because stranger comes together, have dinner and talk about that, It was because I have a center, the restaurant just next door, so it's making it really easier. So I think I'm going to do it again this fall. I'm going to start doing more things like that because I feel like people need to talk to each other. People need to find reports. When I have a center, I always have painting classes, art. I like to use art to help people because some people don't want to talk about it. They just need to. Grief actually is like energy that you trap in you. You just need to learn how to transform yourself. That's why I think a lot of men like to have a project. They like to build things and make things with their hand. It's totally different than how women grieve. Women, we like to sit, next to each other and bitch about things and then we feel better. But men don't do that. Some men don't. I'm still dealing with my mother's death. I had dreams about her lately. I feel like before I don't understand, but now I understand because apparently I'm very angry of her because,
She turned your world upside down.
Not only that, because she's always sick. Ever since I was a kid, my only memory of my mother is I have to go to the hospital and visit her. Sometimes I have to take a bus and bring her soup. I was like 10, 12 years old. So that kind of thing, when I grew up, I think it's just a normal thing. But then I didn't realize it. I need love. I need her. But I didn't have them. I never have it. So I turned into a really angry person. Then I don't know where it came from. But then through my dreams, I was like yelling at her, saying, "You're a horrible mother. You're a horrible mother. You don't love me." And I try to even find ways to prove that she's not my mother. But of course I cannot prove that because she was my mother, So luckily my dreams helped me to heal myself and also have awareness that that part of me is lacking. That caused my anger. It's not other person. Sometimes I can be with a friend or whatever, it could be trigger, right? But that's not the person, it's me. Actually it's within me. I'm the one to feel abandoned and not being loved, So I'm still learning about all that stuff. Even though it's been 23 years, but I'm sure this has been more than 23 years. Like even when I was a kid, because she has a lung problem, she can't help me sit with me. She has TB, and then we constantly have to go to the hospital to have a chest X-ray, stuff like that. So that kind of thing we're still dealing with, And a lot of time, people don't have anyone to talk to. I don't have anyone to talk to. Luckily, I go to school. I figured it all out by myself. And then at school, the worst part, they don't even have counseling for us. So when you study about death, all this shit come up. it's like when a doctor, my friend, he's a doctor, he said, oh, I'm studying about throat. Now I'm looking at everyone's throat, and he feel like, so it's like that. So it's really a rough journey for me. But now I understand more or less, but doesn't mean that the longer time pass that you're going to heal. No, you don't know until it came. But at least you know when it happened, you know how to deal with it. So that's my work, to really help people to deal with it, to understand where it came from.
Well, a lot of times I think that you have to go through it. You can't just ignore it. You know what I mean? I watch people that they don't grieve, they don't,
But they have to understand that first. But then if you don't understand, you're going through grief, like me for many years.
Right.
Even though I go to school counseling, they say, oh my God, you lost parents in 3 months, it's traumatic. I said, I didn't feel traumatic because I didn't know. It's not my culture. I didn't go to counseling until many, many years after. So the person have to understand where all this came from. Then they be able to help themselves. Lots of people don't know. They self-medicate. They can drink, they can take drugs, they can have promiscuity for kids. When they lost their parents, they can sleep around because it's only physical they have to give them comfort. So people don't know. If you don't know, you cannot help yourself. So that's why education is important for me.